Hello everyone, welcome to this demonstration. In this demonstration, we are going to talk about the concept of generics. So we'll start with what is generics, how to use generics in TypeScript. So sometimes you come across certain situation where you have to repeat the same block of code for different types in TypeScript. So let's say you have to invoke a function. That particular function has the same function implementation, but it will work with different type. One of the function need to work with the type number, the other need to work with the type string, and the third one need to work with the type boolean. So if we are typecasting these input parameters and the function output, we have to create three different versions of the same functions. So instead of writing the repeated block of code, generally we start using generics. So let's look for a sample code in order to evaluate this problem. So over here, let's put a function. We'll name this function as getValue. This particular getValue function can take certain parameters as an input. So we'll say first, we'll typecast this parameter as number, and this function will return a value of type number. Inside the function, we'll do simple return first. So whatever value we are getting from this parameter, we'll be returning this particular parameter outside this function. So this getValue function work with a numeric key or a numeric input parameter. We can invoke this function using getValue, and we'll put a numeric value into it. Now let's imagine we want a same sort of function to be invoked for a string. So we'll create another function. Again, let's name it getValue, and we'll take it of type string. So we'll mark the parameter as first and the type string, and we'll say that this particular function returns the value of type string. And similar code over here, we'll say return first. So over here, first we have to change the name of this function, because in TypeScript you can't have two functions with the same name. So I'll say getValue string. Now this getValue string can be used with the string types. So we can call getValue string, and we can return some value, hello world. So let's say we want to create a similar function for a boolean type. Again, the same logic is there, but we have to create a different function. So we'll say function getValue boolean. We'll take up the first parameter, we'll mark this as boolean, and we'll say that this particular function returns a boolean value. So we'll say return first. So similarly, we can call this particular function using getValue boolean, and we'll pass a boolean value to it. Now what we see over here is that for the same function logic, we are creating three different function blocks. We are defining different data types for input parameter as well as the return values, and then we are creating these three functions and invoking them individually. If I switch to the approach of generics, what would happen is I'll create one function, and that particular function will work for all the data types that we have. So let's remove this block of code. So we'll remove the boolean and the string version of this particular function, and we'll try to make this particular function getValue as generic as possible. One option to make this particular function work for any data type is go and append any over here. So this function can take any type of input as parameter, and we can say the return type is also any, which means this function can return any type as a output value. So now you can use the same function for any type of input value. So you can say hello world, you can send a string value. You can either send a boolean value. So we'll pass false. We can either send some arrays. So we can see now this function is getting invoked with any type of input parameters, and whatever parameters you are sending to this particular function, you'll return the same parameters as output. But over here, when we are marking this particular input parameter and the output values as of type any, we achieve our goal to make the function generic, but then we lose the type safety as well. So now, in short, the TypeScript compiler doesn't know about the type of data that has been sent to this particular function. So in order to resolve this problem, we'll try to make this particular function type safe again. In order to make this type safe, we use a type parameter. These type parameter are usually denoted as T, a capital letter T. So what we can do over here is we can just remove this code. We can tell this particular function that this is a generic function which can take certain input type. So we have to mark this particular function with the capital letter T. So once we append this capital letter T inside an arrow bracket, we are marking this particular function as a generic function. And then we'll specify that this input type that you have is of type T, and the output that we return out of this is again of type T. So let's see, how do we define the value of this particular generic keyword T? And how does the compiler get to know about the type of values that has been passed to this particular function? So let's see the invocation of this particular function, and we'll get to know how does the compiler get to know what kind of variable we are inputting to this particular function. So while we are invoking this getValue function, what we have to do is we have to specify the type of parameter that we are passing to this particular function. So over here we'll say getValue. Let's say I want to pass a parameter of type number, and I want that a number should be returned out of this particular function. So I have to define the value of T. So over here in getValue, I'll say number. So I'm typecasting this value of T to number, and then we'll say we are passing a value 10. In this case, the compiler do have information about what kind of value has been passed to this function getValue, and the type information is not lost. Again, if you want to call the same function with some string value, you have to again call this function. But over here, you'll specify that you are going to send a string value. So let's put string over here. If you are marking this particular function call with a T value as string and you are sending a value 10 to it, then we receive a compile time error saying that the argument of type 10 is not assignable to parameter of type string. So over here you have to go back and again change this to some string value, hello world. So again the function can be called with some boolean values as well. So you have to specify a boolean keyword over here, and then you have to pass a boolean value, let's say true. And this function will work seamless with this particular get value, which accepts a generic parameter, and this generic parameter we are defining while we are calling for this particular function. So although now this particular function is a generic function which can accept a value of any type, but now before we are calling this particular function, we are providing the type information to this particular function. We are sending the information that this particular generic type T would be of type number or string or a boolean. So next we'll see how these generics work for classes. So how can we create some generic class which takes some generic T parameter, and let's see the real-time implementation of generics inside a class. So over here I'll just remove this code. I'll create a class employee. This particular class takes certain input parameters. Again we'll define a name which is of type string, an age of type number, and some designation of type string. For this particular class, let's create a constructor. This constructor will take the default value of name, age, and designation. So inside the constructor, we'll put down this particular properties equal to the input parameters that we have. So we'll put down this dot name equal to name, this dot age equal to the input age, this dot designation is equal to the input parameter designation. So now let's go further and create this particular object. So we'll say employee object equal to new employee, and we'll pass the default input parameters for name, age, and designation. So we'll say random. We'll pass a random age 20 and some designation developer. So this particular code is working perfect in this particular scenario where we know that this particular name variable that we have is of type string, age is of type number, and the designation is of type string. So we created a new class. So while creating this class, we are providing some input parameter for name, age, and designation. Let's take a situation where this particular variable age can be of type string as well. So maybe a user can send the value of age which is enclosed inside double quotes or a single quotes, making it a string value. So there is a good amount of probability that we can send a string value as an input for a property age. So we have to cater that particular scenario, and we have to ensure that this particular age can be either of type number or of type string. So as per the current scenario that we have over here, we are assuming this particular age variable as number, and we are creating the entire class accordingly. So let's add another function which says get age, and this particular function, since we know that this age is right now of type number, so we are saying that this particular function will return us a value of type number, and we'll say return this dot age. So you can see we have imagined this particular variable age as number, and we have created the entire class accordingly. Now what would happen if this particular age variable is not of type number and is of type string? So as soon as you put this particular number of type string, you'll get multiple errors at multiple places. So over here you can see that this is assuming a parameter of type number, but it received a value which is string value. So now we have a restriction that this could be only of type number, but I just want to extend the functionality and put it either of type number or string. So in that case, I'll mark my class as a generic class. So in order to mark this particular class as generic, I'll put a parameter t over here. So this will mark this particular class as generic. And then we'll say whatever type information we are passing to a class over here, use that same type information to define age. So we'll put t over here. In the constructor again, it can be either of number or of type string. So I can put a generic type t. And similarly over here, I can just replace this number with t. So now you see we have the entire code up and running, and there is no compile time error. But when we are using generics, what we need to do is, while creating this particular object, we have to provide the type information over here. So we'll say that this type t is of type number. So once you pass a parameter number over here, this particular number would be denoting the value of this capital T. So this age would be substituted with the number. Again, this get age, the return type of this get age is again a number, and this input parameter again becomes a type number. So now let's say we have another parameter which can be either of type string or of type number. I can have a new property salary, and just like what we had for age, salary can also be of any type. So we have to define another generic type. So we'll say another generic t1, and we'll mark this particular salary variable of type t1. Now this class is expecting two generic parameters. One is the type of salary, and second is the type for age. So we have to pass two generic parameter. I have to say, okay, my age is of type number, and also my salary is of type number. So I can extend this class further. I can put another input parameter salary. I can mark the salary as T1. Since now it is taking 4 parameter, let's add a salary to it. Again, I can create a function which is get salary, and the salary can have a return type of T1, and it will return this dot salary. Let's say at any moment of time, this salary that we have is of type string. We can change this T1. We can say that the salary that you are going to receive is of type string. Now you have an error over here because we are now expecting a string value as a value for salary. So we can pass a string value instead of a numeric value. And this class still works fine for a string type, hence making the entire class as generic and more usable. So you do not have to write the same logic again and again for the different input types. You can use the same logic in order to work out with the different types in our JavaScript code. So this is the usage of generics inside a TypeScript. Thanks for joining us for this particular session.